Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Film Sci. 9. He wrote Balerion the Black Dread. Few dragons in Westeros are quite as famous as Balerion in the Black Dread, who was written by Aegon the Conqueror himself. Notably, Viserys was the last person to write this magnificent beast, who ultimately died of old age. Even more remarkably, Viserys didn't bond with another dragon after the Black Dread died. Clearly, there was a strong bond between them, and given just how prominent Balerion had been in the history of Westeros and in the Targaryen family in particular, it's easy to see why Viserys would be reluctant to write another. 8. He was a kind ruler. Though Westeros has been plagued with its fair share of evil rulers, this wasn't the case with Viserys. In fact, readers of Fire and Blood are told repeatedly that Viserys was a kind and avuncular ruler, the type of person who was easy to love and easy to serve. However, this could also be something of a liability, as he seemed to have difficulty in dealing with conflict, preferring to cast it out of his life rather than to confront it head-on. As is so often the case in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, sometimes one's greatest strength can also be a weakness. 7. The Targaryens were at their height when he came to the throne. The Targaryens have always been one of the most powerful houses in Game of Thrones, if only because of their historic association with dragons. This was particularly true during the reign of King Viserys. Not only were there many members of the royal family scattered throughout some of the most powerful houses in the realm, including both Valyrian and Baratheon, but there were also numerous dragons who flew through the skies. Unfortunately, the Dance of the Dragons would see most of this undone and would itself set the stage for their eventual decline and fall. 6. He was very indulgent of his brother Daemon. In the upcoming series, Daemon is set to be played by Matt Smith, and it's sure to be seen as one of his best roles. In the books, it is clear that Viserys has a very soft spot for his brother. This, as with so much else in Viserys' rule, would come back to haunt him, as he proved himself very unwilling and unable to keep Daemon in line. As a result, Daemon eventually became the type of person who believed that he had the right to do whatever he wanted, with consequences that would prove fatal for the kingdom. Number 5. He didn't allow Rhaenyra to marry her brother Aegon. One of the most notable traits of the Targaryen was their tendency to have siblings marry one another. At first, this seemed like it would be the perfect way to ensure that Rhaenyra and her younger sibling Aegon got along. However, Viserys quashed this idea, believing, probably rightly, that to force them to wed would only lead to more discord. However, this can also be seen as another opportunity to prevent future squabbling that he wasted, and that, had he been a little braver, he might have done more to help circumvent the Dance of the Dragons. Number 4. His death was concealed at first. Though he was very beloved, not even the most loved king can last forever. Indeed, Viserys died when taking a nap. However, he wasn't to be given the type of dignified burning that was typical of members of the family, at least not at first. In fact, his second wife, Alicent, concealed the fact of his death for as long as she could, to ensure that she could solidify her power. It was an unfortunate legacy for a king whom most in the realm seemed to adore. 3. He had 2 sons from his first wife. As is so often the case with Westerosi politics, so much of the Dance of the Dragons depended on the accidents of birth. In fact, he had 2 sons with his first wife, but unfortunately, both of them died young. It's easy to imagine an alternative history, one in which they managed to survive and one of them was married to Rhaenyra, thus preventing the destruction that swept across the family when the 2 branches fought for the throne. Number 2. He refused to discuss the succession after appointing Rhaenyra his heir. Rhaenyra could come to play a remarkably prominent role in the history of Westeros, since she was one of the prime claimants of the Iron Throne. However, though Viserys went out of his way to make sure the realm swore to uphold her claim to the throne, he didn't really follow up on any of this. In fact, he refused to talk about the succession. This was very much in keeping with his general personality, but it was one that would come to have very dreadful consequences for the realm he ruled. Number 1. He forced his daughter to wed. Though he was, as a rule, a very indulgent father, there were times when Viserys could show some authority where his daughter was concerned. In particular, he forced her hand in her marriage, coercing her to marry a Valerian by threatening to charge the succession if she didn't do what he told her to. As with so many of his other actions, though it made sense in the immediate context, it was an action that would go on to blight both Rhaenyra's life and that of the Seven Kingdoms. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.